Superheroes are everywhere. Our cinemas, our underwear, our public transportation, and not even our mangas are safe. Yeah, not content with taking over Western pop culture, superheroes have been spreading into the East via officially sanctioned Japanese-style comics. And we stress the word officially because what you're about to see is just as demented as anything Batman is my daddy 69 might post on DeviantArt. So let's look at the bonkers, the embarrassing, the unbelievable bits of Marvel and DC canon that make more sense when read from right to left, but not that much more sense. We're talking about the Joker's adventures in bat babysitting, the Punisher being gender swapped into a crime-fighting dominatrix, and the food-centric Superman manga that got surprisingly steamy. This is CanonBall. As we've previously demonstrated, superheroes plus manga is a wildly unpredictable formula that can yield anything from pure madness, to pure sadness, to pure weird-ass comic where Spider-Man cranks it and fantasizes about killing everyone. So let's spin the wheel once more and see what Japanese artists and American artists trying to draw like Japanese artists bring us this time. Number 4, the official manga where Joker raises baby Batman. If I told you there's a comic where Batman is de-aged into a baby and the Joker decides to raise him, you'd naturally assume it came out of the 60s, when DC Comics was secretly dosing its writers with LSD and stuff like that happened every other issue. But no, this series started in the year of our Lord 2021 and is still coming out today. How does this exist? Well, the short answer is because Japan. The long answer is that One Operation Joker is an official collaboration between DC and Kodansha, publisher of acclaimed manga series like Attack on Titan, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and She's Adopted a High School Boy. The story follows Batman after he falls into the same vat of chemicals that gave the Joker his permanent hair dye and comes out inexplicably transformed into a tiny bat bundle of joy. Wait, is that how Batfleck turned into Batman between the movies? Even less explicably, instead of chucking the baby into the nearest trash can, Joker decides that he has to raise him right so that he'll go back to being his nemesis one day. Because he really meant it when he said, "You complete me." Most of the manga is about the problems caused by Joker's inexperience as a single dad, like when he buys a type of diaper that's more Robin's size. Hey, shouldn't Bat Baby be wearing his diapers over his baby clothes? Joker is so stressed and sleep deprived that some days he even forgets to put his own clown makeup on. Truly, this comic has pushed the character to his very limits.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
From the wonderful store where you bought them for him, because he wouldn't stop crying and you hadn't slept in 2 days. Joker quickly runs out of money to provide for the child, a problem compounded by his addiction to burning giant piles of cash. He has no choice but to apply to subsidized nursery schools, which results in this comic having way more pages about Joker waiting at government offices and filling out forms than the average Batman saga. Eventually it works, but the moment Joker tries to spend some time with his henchmen and Commissioner Gordon again, he has to bail. The nursery school called to say little Brucey is sick. At least Gordon is used to being ditched.
That's rude.
But all these troubles are worth it when an amazed Joker gets to watch baby Bruce stand on his own for the first time, bringing him one step closer to swinging over rooftops once again. Only like 25 more years until that happens. I can't wait for the issue where Joker and Harley have to explain the bats and the bees to a sulky bat teenager. Okay, so turning Batman into a baby in a manga is pretty weird, but look at it this way. At least Japan didn't give him huge knockers, you know, like they did in Number 3, the Marvel Mangaverse featuring Lady Iron Man and Kinky Punisher. The Marvel Mangaverse is a line of comics that reimagines Marvel's most popular heroes in manga style, as if they were created in an alternate universe where Stan Lee actually had an Asian surname. So, for instance, Wolverine has laser claws and dresses like he's about to yell, "It's over 9,000." Hulk is large enough to stomp buildings and wrestle Mothra. And Iron Man wears an armor that he clearly just traced from a Gundam episode. That she clearly just traced from a Gundam episode. See, by this point in the story, Tony Stark has been replaced by his sister, Tony with an I, aka Iron Maiden, aka Iron Bitch. Tony with an I falls in love with manga Bruce Banner, to the delight of Iron Man and Hulk fanfiction writers everywhere. and they eventually ascend together
Into another dimension.
while nude, of course, because it's not really a manga series if you don't get to see at least 80% of a boob before it's over.
I want one.
Hey, come on, that's your sister. Meanwhile, the mangaverse version of the Punisher not only swapped the character's gender, but also changed his profession from former US Marine to Japanese boarding school principal who secretly fights crime while dressed like a geisha, earning the title of kinkiest heroine in Tokyo. Why? Because instead of just shooting criminals, her brand of punishment consists of whipping them, spanking their bottoms, and tickling their feet. Although not all criminals seem to consider this punishment. At least she appears to be getting some enjoyment out of it.
I did it because I liked it.
In her first and only issue, we learn that Lady Punisher's parents tragically perished in a freak pogo stick accident. Are there normal pogo stick accidents?
No.
Anyway, she fights a sinister crime boss called Ho, leader of the Skanky crime syndicate. So, a Skanky Ho, with her Skanky friends and Skanky family, as Punisher puts it. Man, you'd think someone in her line of work would be above slut-shaming. Then there's some stuff about Punisher's sister finding a magical cursed sword and fighting a demon, but that's not really important. What's really important is the mangaverse like a metaverse thing? Does this mean the real Punisher is role-playing as a Japanese lady in some sort of VR game? It's all right, Frank, no need to be ashamed. Every superhero needs their hobby. For example, number 2. Superman's bizarre Japanese foodie adventure. When Kodansha, the same company responsible for the Joker's adventures in babysitting, got the rights to publish Superman stories in 2021, they asked themselves, what could a Man of Steel manga possibly be about? Evidently, the answer was invincible flying aliens gorging on sushi. Superman vs. Meishi, which apparently translates to Superman vs. Rice, is about the last son of Krypton's single-minded pursuit for the perfect dish. Occasionally he'll punch a villain, but it's mostly just eating. Just dozens and dozens of pages of Superman eating Japanese food and making O faces. In fact, the pleasure Superman derives from these meals is so intense that sometimes he'll get too excited and have an involuntary discharge. Through the eyes. Dude, this is exactly why takeout food exists.
This order's to go.
Superman is so fixated on Japanese cuisine that he even insists on bringing his friends along to Japan to taste his favorite dishes, whether they want to or not. But they always end up surrendering to the delicious food, which incidentally is always rendered with way more detail than any of the characters. This is basically a cooking magazine with superheroes added in as an afterthought. One story shows Superman using his long-neglected power to turn back time by flying really fast around the Earth, which his space dad specifically forbade.
It is forbidden.
But surely Marlon Brando would make an exception if he knew Superman just wanted to finish a plate the waitress took back before he was done eating. Oh, and remember that time Superman died? This manga reveals the real reason he came back to life. Batman cooked something so delicious that he couldn't resist getting up for a bite, even though he was, you know, a corpse. Obviously, Superman's very thankful to his friend for saving his life. Very thankful. Wait, no, that's from another issue where he tries to erase Batman's memory so he can shut him up and get back to eating hamburgers. Nothing to worry about here, Lois Lane. Yeah, not a whole lot of action in this manga, so let's balance that out with number 1, the Teen Titans GORE. DC's Teen Titans had a long history in the comics before Teen Titans Go, which is less of a show and more of a meme factory for middle schoolers.
Picture my booty up in 3D.
For instance, in 1997, they starred in their very own manga. Titans, Scissor, Paper, Stone is a one-shot special by Amerimanga author Adam Warren, who once made a Marvel comic about Galactus's hot anime babe of a daughter. In this one, a group of futuristic anime protagonists decide to form a team based on ancient myths about a group of legendary teenage heroes. Unfortunately, it looks like not a lot of information about those heroes has survived, except for the fact that they had incredible powers and kind of silly names. So Raven is now Witchy Poo. Cyborg is Prosthetic Lass.
Booyah!
Starfire is Dead Pretty Boy.
The boy me is quite formidable.
Robin is Captain Thug. And Beast Boy is not invited. Sorry, bud. Like in the original comics, these Titans are gathered by the team's magic user to defeat a giant monster. Witchy Poo makes it clear that she doesn't actually believe in superheroes, but she based the team on them anyway because, quote, superheroes never lose. So how does their first mission go? Not that well. The comic ends with Witchy Poo kneeling by Captain Thug's exploded corpse, splattered in his blood, and saying, superheroes suck. And that's why this was a one-off. Hold on, did DC commission this thing to convince kids that mangas may look cool, but they're also insanely depressing and traumatizing? Because that's accurate. But we still kinda wanna see an ongoing Titans manga where a different character is gruesomely murdered in every episode. Just one note. Next time, draw it in Teen Titans Go style. That'll make the gore much easier to swallow. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of CanonBall. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and jump in the comments and let us know if you've ever swallowed any gore. What? I thought that was a good take. No?